Let's do this. Convergence's Speedo Force. A 2-issue miniseries that is part of the Convergence's crossover. And this stars the Flask, the Willie West version of the Flask. A character that had been erased from continuity for the 3 or 4 years before this crossover. Convergences was a pretty lousy story, but it was an enjoyable crossover. The idea is we have a battle world made up of different realities and different periods of DC canon. We have a lot of stuff from each era of DC continuity. Pre-Christmas on Infinite Earths, post-Christmas, 0 hours, and most of the minis are solid. There's only 2 or 3 that are actually horrible. The Stephen Brown Batgirl one is unfortunately one of those ones. But this is Willie West Flask, and it has art by Wallace Grummett as well, so that is good. And this was a popular character, the Willie West version of the Flask. For many, it was the more familiar version of the Flask. But the company was being ran by morons who loved their Silver Age tosh. And so Willie West was outright removed from ever existing. And Barney Allen was the one and only Flask. Willie West has kids. He has twins. Twins of different ages due to Speedo Force shenanigans. They were, well, I reckon, they were introduced to try and bench Willie West so that Barney Allen could reign supreme. John Jeffries, the architect behind everything bad at DC, he introduced them in his final issue on the Flask. He didn't even give them names. You see, John Jeffries wrote The Flask starring Willie West, but most of it was just him proselytizing about Barney Allen and how much better Barney Allen was than our star. A lot of the stories were Willie West would, through time travel shit, team up with Barney Allen, and Barney Allen would be better than him, and Barney Allen would save the day. This was all part of John Jeffries' unsubtle campaign to return Barney Allen and argue that it's what the fans wanted, and not just what he wanted. Willie West, his family, and every bit of history with him was gone with the New 52 reboot, of which John Jeffries was the driving force. The kids, though, they were aged up off-panel, and they featured in the very brief third Martin Quaid run, which from my understanding was mostly written by Tennessee, his lackey, friends. I am being very succinct here. I could point out how the Flask series was cancelled after John Jeffries, or how he tried to retire Willie West in Infinite Christmas, but that's all too much information. The kid's being aged up, it's fucking him doing this shit to try and get rid of Willie West. What's important is that this is a Defiant miniseries. This is the character that DC had kept down for years out of spite. One pathetic man couldn't handle that people didn't share his nostalgia, and so the new thing that a generation had grown up with and another generation had come around to was gone. Convergences takes our Willie West from just before the New 52 replaced him. He and his kids are trapped inside this part of DC continuity geography that has been chosen by the bad guy to be part of Battle Worlds. These cities are kept in domes for a year as he gathers all his different pieces together. And in the domes, most of the heroes are depowered. Not entirely sure how it works in some cases, but with Wally West, you can argue that it seals him off from the titular Speedo Force. Don't know how it affects Black Lightman. Don't know how being trapped in a dome would stop his powers. One thing that sets this mini apart from a lot of the others is how much it does play with the wider crossover. Wally West isn't the only one in this particular dome, our pre-New 52 dome. We also have a couple of others which get their own minis too. We acknowledge Adam, he gets one. That's another one I remember not being that good though. And then on the next page, we also show Batman. The Flash goes to him to see if he has any ideas about how to get free from this dome. Pre-New 52 Batman, he has one, a miniseries. I think it's Dick Grayskull Batman to boot. Don't remember that one at all, which means it wasn't amazing, but it also probably wasn't horrible. We get some stuff with Wally West and his kids. For a year they have been trapped there, and their mum was outside of the captured zone. So Wally West has had to be a single dad to them. But then the main crossover story begins. The domes are removed, and the various cities have to do battle with each other. I am from beyond. Slay your enemies, and all you desire shall be yours. Nothing you dream of is impossible for me to accomplish. Then we have a tease for who the Flask is going to fight. But with the domes down, the powers return, so now Wally West can be Flask again. And this is unique to his mini, he observes some of these other cities need backup. We have a Wild West themed alternative reality. This was Justice Riders, a pretty fun graphic novel from the 90s where Wonder Woman was a sheriff and Wally West was the fastest gun alive. So the Flask, he goes to try and help them and also do a bit of recon and see what is happening. But he gets to the Justice Riders city too late. They have been killed and their city destroyed. And we actually do see that in another mini-series, a Gail Simon one. Evil Stephen Hawkman and evil Orkin Girl slaughter them. They murdered all those characters you might have liked in the otherwise one-off Elseworlds graphic novel. So now the Flask, he starts whizzing around trying to find other cities in need of his help. I described this miniseries as Defiance, and that is what Wally West is here. He is defying the Game Master. He is defying the Beyonder. His powers also cause his kids to warp to him and start tagging along. Some more unpredictable Speedo Force effects. Rubber banding. Fucking hate the Speedo Force. The Flask, he quickly visits some other cities. Here we have Backwards Superman World, which I don't think is ever in a miniseries. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember it in any. And then over here, up top, we have Elastic Man and the Crusaders. They star in their own mini. It's quite decent. After that, the second one, in the middle, we have what I assume is Imperial Guards, the Imperial Guards timeline. They have their own miniseries, and they also appear in Booster Golds, and another version of Imperial Guard, another continuity of Imperial Guard, I think 0 Hours Imperial Guard. They appear in Blue Beagle, which is one of the best minis, the Blue Beagle one. Lastly, we have the Weaponeers of Quars, the Antimatter universe. They are in 1 or 2 as villains. Cannot remember which ones, but they are in some. Next, we travel to an anthropomorphic world, and the speedsters are observed by someone hiding in the shadows. And then afterwards, they notice that someone else is following them and also drawn from the Speedo Force. And it's only bloody Fastback from the Zoo crew. That animal world was Captain Carrot and the Zoo crew. Fastback is the speedster of the Zoo crew, and he is, after Captain Carrot, the most well-known of the Zoo crew. The Flask and Fastback, they agree to team up against whatever is happening. But now we meet our opponent, Wonder Woman from the Flashpoint universe. Ugh. Flashpoint was a fucking horrid John Jeffries crossover. It was what erased the DC universe and replaced it with his New 52. It is the exact thing that got rid of Wally West. The plot of it is that the perfect Barney Allen, he breaks reality by selfishly trying to go back in time and change the past so that his mom lives. In Flashpoint, everything is shit. It is edgy, grim, dark rubbish. Wonder Woman is a warmongering villain. Her and Acroman are at war with each other, and they are both evil. That is the first part of this 2-part miniseries, and it's really good. It's wonderful to see the proper Flask back, and his kids still around. He is acting in character, and it's just great to see a sliver of the DC universe back again, even if it was only temporary. This could easily have been bitter and a middle finger to the New 52 as well, but it's not. It's just a good case in point for what people actually want their Flask comics to be. I give it 7 thumbs up and a middle finger to the New 52 as well.